This is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with Platinum versus the Knockouts, Knockdown, and GCW's Gage versus Mox. Just that match in particular. So I took in both pay-per-views. Let me talk about this Knockouts. So Impact. Overall, I would say the all-women's pay-per-view with referees. It was great to see Elaine Simon there. Commentators, I thought Vita Scott and oh my goodness, sorry, it's midnight. And Hong Kong Country. I think they did a fair to good job with the commentary. Now, it was 10 matches long, but it went by pretty fast because they kept most of the tournament matches relatively short. So we opened with Rachel Ellering against Lady Frost. Rachel Ellering wins that one. Chelsea Green against Renee Michelle in a match that I thought worked a little better, and Chelsea Green wins. Brandy Lauren, which all the spoiler sites mistakenly said was Rosemary, because Brandy Lauren, of course, and Kimber Lee are under the sway of Su Yung. But Brandy Lauren loses a relatively quick one to Mercedes Martinez with the OG drop, which is like a Rochambeau. Mercedes Martinez looks great here. I also love that people had different gear as they advanced in the tournament. It's just little touches like that told you that this was a big deal. Jamie Senegal, big fan. I see Jamie Senegal at No Peace shows here in Florida against Tasha Steele, and did a really good job really making Tasha Steele look phenomenal. And that crucifix bomb really looked good here. Then we start getting into other matches on the card. So Deonna Purrazzo with the best match on the card with Masha Slamovich. And Masha Slamovich signed after this match, even though she lost to Deonna Purrazzo, to the Venus de Milo. Deonna Purrazzo continues to just get better and better and better and better. We go into the semi-finals. Mercedes Martinez and Rachel Ellering with the best match so far as the tournament went, with a chokeout over Rachel Ellering. Really looked good in this match. Mercedes Martinez, you wanted to see her in the finals, but more than that, wanted her to have great matches getting there, and they got better and better. Tasha Steele against Chelsea Green. This match had a really choreographed feel to it at different spurts. I'm not going to lie about that. But it was in the service of doing a match that was a little more on the complicated scale and more semifinal worthy than their first round matches. So that's understandable. Tasha Steele eventually gets a frog splash and wins. We talked to Mercedes Martinez, who is looking forward to wrestling Tasha Steele, and puts her over on the mic. And then we have a moment where it's very nice, where it was really great to see. They just did a good job of bringing people back from the past. I definitely approved. Awesome Kong put into the Hall of Fame, dedicates it to Daphne. It's a very nice moment. Then we had a Monsters Ball match. Kimberly, Alicia, who actually made a lot more hay in this match than I thought she would, since she was the smallest by far, but that barbed wire covered kendo stick was a nice touch. Jordan Grace, who looked really good in here, and then Savannah Evans, who eventually got put over. The thumbtacks were a great story where they continually did spots in and around the thumbtacks. Savannah Evans, though, eventually grabs Alicia in the full Nelson, slams her, not quite under the thumbtacks, but close enough, and that's that. The muscle buster on the tacks by Jordan Grace onto Kimberly was incredibly brutal as well. But the Monsters Ball match certainly lived up to billing, and Savannah Evans gets that Duke. Tasha Steele in her promo before her finals match, by the way, it's Christy Hemme who introduced Awesome Kong and all that, and I just thought it was lovely. Tasha Steele really putting over Savannah Evans. That's why that's my muscle, my backup. Takes on Mercedes Martinez. It's a good match, but Mercedes Martinez, rightfully so, wins this thing, so we'll get a future title shot. And we are reminded constantly that title shot will probably come after Bound for Glory, because you're going to have, of course, a huge match between Deonna Purrazzo and Hardcore Country. They had a little clip package about mental health amongst a bunch of wrestlers that I thought was absolutely fantastic. Really frickin' lovely. I thought it really worked, and I was really happy for it. And now my major bitch of the show, which is the main event. Nothing wrong with it. It was a good match. It was Decay, who are the women's tag champs, against the Influence. But here's my thing, like, it's a very strange match to put last. I suppose he wanted to send people home happy with an emotional pop. And because Decay is over and the Influence are heels and they knew we were going to send them home happy by having the faces win, I get it. But at the same time, Now, I'm going to put up a variety of pictures about this Mox and Nick Gage match. The atmosphere is insane. The GCW crowd is the most volatile, is the most into it, provides the coolest atmosphere in professional wrestling, and people are going to bitch and moan when I say that, but it's unlike anybody else. And it also put into finite focus for me that there are wrestling leagues that have an atmosphere, a true atmosphere and true fun and true like cool stuff happen, and those that pretend to, and GCW doesn't have to pretend anything. Many of the deathmatch shows that I look at have this atmosphere. I think AEW in its finest moments does as well, and a lot of other people don't. And the king, WWE, most certainly does not. There are a series of moments that get pops, but not atmospheres that make for legendary moments. Not anymore. What was this match? This match was Moxley really going all out, taking that light tube bundle before he even finished his introduction and bleeding right away. Mox got ridiculous color on his head and on the back. Really went out of his way to make Nick Gage look good. The finish would probably, a lot of people would say it happened much sooner than they were expecting, and it felt a little like, oh, that's the end. But, you know, I think it made sense, and I think Mox retaining makes sense, and then Nick Gage promising to bring that title home in an emotional thing. Before the match, though, Mick Foley speaking, which, you know, I'm kind of hit or miss with Mick Foley in the last few years, but this was definitely a good use of him, and he was down, and he was marking out about meeting Thunder Rosa. The rest of the show is very good, I'll say that, and some really cool, different stuff you're not going to see in anybody else's wrestling show. But I really just wanted to cover that main event because there was something about that atmosphere that was very special. There's also an announcement before the match that on January 23rd, they're going to be in the Hammerstein Ballroom, and that crowd just ate that up. GCW, there are stocks that are rising and stocks that are not rising in wrestling groups, and this goes in Georgia, which is a place I cover a lot, Florida, nationally, and then groups like GCW. GCW's stock rising, and Moxley going all out to really make this event work in that main event, living up to that. You create the hype and you live up to the hype. That's the job of the main event. Moxley certainly came through, as did Nick Gage. And that kind of atmosphere is something that Impact should be striving for. And putting that tag match last, again, they've got to think, it's cool that they pulled off this pay-per-view, and I think it was very successfully pulled off. But we need to go from just, it's cool to have this all-women show, to how can we get this thing where it is over like Rover? Because that's the next important step for sure. In any case, let me go ahead and get this thing up there.